Hi, I'm Michelle Begue with a look at what's happening in Latin America now. But first, our news trivia. Which country in Latin America celebrates the feast day of St. John with a fire-walking festival? We'll have the answer later. In Honduras, the government is cracking down on violent gangs. President Xiomara Castro has declared an immediate curfew for 15 days in a town where 13 people were shot dead during a birthday party. Murders in the northern Sula Valley are said to be linked to drug trafficking gangs. The Honduran government is also sending 1,000 additional security personnel to the region to fight violence. In another crackdown measure, the government announced starting July 1st, they will be taking over 21 prisons for the next year. 2,000 new prison guards are being trained to combat the violent clashes between rival gangs inside the prisons. A week ago, one of these clashes left at least 46 women dead at a prison near the capital, Tegucigalpa. Now let's go to my colleague Al Baverstock, who has a special report.
Last weekend's presidential election in Guatemala, contested between 22 candidates, produced no clear winner, and a runoff vote will now be held. The highest polling candidate was Sandra Torres, a former First Lady and veteran politician who has faced allegations of corruption. She will now face Bernardo Arévalo, the son of the country's first democratically elected president, who focused on tackling corruption on the campaign trail. Around a quarter of the total ballots were spoiled after the country barred Carlos Pineda, a businessman and early frontrunner, from official candidacy. The breakdown of democracy in Guatemala has been a growing concern ahead of this election, but after a successful first round of voting, the runoff is set for August 20th.
Now let's go to my colleague Dan Collyns, who has a special report.
Michelle, after years of plaudits and prizes, Lima's Central restaurant has been voted the world's best, becoming the first South American restaurant to earn the title. Central's fine dining menu showcases Peru's unique spread of biodiversity by taking diners through 15 different Peruvian ecosystems, from under the sea to more than 4,000 meters above sea level in the Andes Mountains. Pia Leon, Central's co-founder, who is married to the executive chef Virgilio Martinez, also saw her solo project Koye reach the top 50 this year, making 28th place. Other Lima eateries, Maido, led by award-winning Japanese-Peruvian chef Mitsuharu Sumura, was at number 6 and Maita reached 47th place. Fusion is key to Peru's cuisine. Over centuries, techniques were brought by waves of incomers, from Spanish invaders to enslaved Africans to the Cantonese who arrived in the 19th century. Italian and Japanese immigrants also built on a rich foundation of indigenous crops from Peru's multiple ecosystems, and all helped create uniquely Peruvian dishes, from typical Creole food to Japanese-Peruvian Nikkei and chifa, Chinese-Peruvian fare.
Chile is experiencing what is being called the worst weather front in a decade. Heavy rainfall in the center of the country caused rivers to swell, creating widespread floods. President Gabriel Boric, who visited the region, says 2 people lost their lives and 3 others are missing. Officials say more than 4,000 people were victimized by the floods. 1,699 have been evacuated to shelters. Alerts continue as authorities say more heavy rain and flooding is still possible. Now let's check out the stories we're following for next week. We are following a story in Argentina. The country received an old cargo plane that was used by the country's brutal military regime 4 decades ago. The small plane, which was discovered in the U.S., is the first ever proven in court to have been used for the regime's notorious death flights. Political detainees were hurled off the plane in mid-air by members of the military. The government plans to put the plane in the Museum of Memory. Transporting it to Argentina took 20 days, as it could not endure the lengthy 10-hour flight from the United States. And now the answer to our news trivia. The answer is A. In Latin America, festivals are held in late June to celebrate the birthday of St. John the Baptist. Check out the fire celebrations in the state of Minas Gerais. Residents of the Afro-Brazilian community Mato Ticao Quilombo in southeast Brazil walk barefoot on a bed of hot embers. They also set a 7-meter-high bonfire the night before the holiday on St. John's Eve. And that's it for this week. We'll see you again soon on Latin America Now.